Well, did you feel it? That's the question countless British Columbians are asking tonight. And yes, it was an earthquake. A 4.7 magnitude quake struck 24 kilometers outside of Sechelt on the Sunshine Coast this afternoon, but it was felt a lot further away than that. Alissa Thibault is live in Vancouver tonight, where lots of people felt the shaking, including you, Alissa.
Yeah, I was in my apartment building downtown and I felt the building shake. This was my first experience of an earthquake. It was scary. And, you know, we've been told living here in the Pacific Northwest to expect the big one. Obviously, that today's was not it. The buildings behind me are still here, but it was felt far and wide. We've heard people up in Pemberton and around Mount Currie felt this earthquake on Vancouver Island. We even had a Global News viewer write in to say they felt it in Peachland in the interior. So take a look at this. This was the epicenter of that earthquake, just off the coast of Sechelt on the Sunshine Coast. That's where it was felt the most. The district of Sechelt says people's nerves were rattled, but it does appear that all infrastructure around there is okay. Staff will continue to do checks throughout the weekend. We've had some reports of aftershocks, and we spoke with a seismologist from Natural Resources Canada. Have a listen.
I would expect that things probably fell off some shelves in Sechelt. People definitely felt the shaking. It could have just been a short, sharp jolt for them. It could have been a little more. I would not expect structural damage. However, when you're very close to the epicenter, it's a nonlinear process, and sometimes, you know, all bets are off in that case. Our building code is quite good, and we're built here to withstand quite large earthquakes.
Now, our Global News team has been checking in with all municipalities. We're not hearing any reports of any damage. We know that all fire trucks across the district of North Vancouver are out doing checks on buildings. They've been at schools. They went up Grouse Mountain. BC Ferries is also expecting some delays in and out of Horseshoe Bay and Langdale. Ferries were being held so that crews could make sure there was no damage to the dock. So everything seems okay, and we've been out asking people how their experience was.
We were on the 14th floor, and I just felt a little bit of a shake, and then another shake, and a little bit of another shake, and so we got underneath some doorways, and yeah, it scared us.
I was at home with my family, and the chair started shaking, and the table started shaking.
Like, what's going on? What's going on? The ground is shaking. The house is falling.
It was really crazy. I was sitting at home when it happened. I stood up right away, grabbed my friend's arm, and I was like, oh my God, did you feel that?
So many stories, so much to talk about, Alissa. One of the big concerns, besides the big one itself, is what could happen, of course, after a quake here on the South Coast, but no tsunami alert triggered this time today.
No, there was no tsunami alert issued. Some people on a BC ferry, though, were told to brace just in case that did eventuate. Thankfully, nothing happened. We have all survived the great earthquake of 2025, but a very scary afternoon for some people. Sarah?
Absolutely. A lot of stories coming out of it. Alissa Thibault, thanks so much. And Keith Baldrey joins us now from Victoria. Keith, you did not feel the earthquake, but you seem to be one of the few at the Legislature who didn't today.
Yeah, another example of our 127-year-old building experiencing different experiences depending on what floor you're on. So I was on ground level outside, didn't feel a thing, but people on the second and third floors felt a tremendous shake. In fact, we caught up with Social Development Minister Sheila Malcolmson, who says the NDP was having a caucus meeting of the sorts, had some people online, but also in the room. The room they're in was shaking so violently they dove under their desks.
We had some members in our caucus meeting online, on Teams meeting. All of a sudden, the ground shook big time. We all felt it. And then we saw a note from Randine Neal saying, huge earthquake just hit Sechelt. So we dove under our desks because we've been trained to do this. Then quite quickly after decided that we would head for the muster station. So all of us in the NDP caucus and staff alongside scooted out front. On my way past security, they said, where are you going? We didn't feel a thing.
Sounds like you, Keith. We also caught up with Emergency Management Minister Kelly Green this afternoon. What's her message to British Columbians?
Yeah, again, this serves as another timely reminder. The big one is literally around the corner. We don't know when. And at the time, again, examine your belongings, your preparations, your earthquake kit. Here's the message from the Emergency Management Minister.
It's probably a good time to make sure that you're ready for an earthquake, getting your personal preparedness kit together. We have a lot of resources on Prepared BC to help guide you through that process of either building a kit, getting prepared, making sure that your family understands your emergency plans. Things like supply of water, non-perishable foods, essential medicine, identification, and essential documents like insurance.
So my global studio here, our global studio here at the Legislature is actually located in the ancient Armory building, even older than the Legislature. Staff here have reported not feeling a thing. And as an example, again, of the sort of varied experiences, the books behind me are rather precariously shelved. Some of them have fallen away from time to time when a big truck goes by. But today, not a single book fell from the shelf.
Interesting, Keith Baldrey, thanks. And we felt it out here in Burnaby at our studios too. Thanks, Keith.
Okay.